subconsciously we're picking up on each other's breathing patterns and mental states. So even in relationships, when you tell someone, oh, just take a deep breath, you're getting agitated or you're getting triggered, that's not often that helpful. It can be, but what's more helpful than that is to actually take a deep breath yourself. And the person that you deem as triggered in front of you can mirror that deep breath without being told, because nobody likes to be told what to do.
No. Dina, welcome to the podcast. Holy smokes, I'm so fired up to have you. And I've got a bunch of great questions to ask today. Because you are the breathwork expert.
It's an honor to be here, and getting to know you already has been such a fun time. So I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, let's kick it off.
Cool.
Got some questions about, breathing. It's something that we all do about 20,000 times a day on average. Well, why is there a word like master associated with breathing? How does one master the breath, and why would they want to do that?
Well, the breath is the only autonomic function that we can consciously control.
Jeez.
Our heart rate and our other autonomic functions are beyond our control. But because we have the ability to control our breath with our consciousness and our awareness, why not use that as like the master hard drive switch where we can intentionally augment our nervous system when we need to, or downregulate if we're in a stress or fight or flight state. So to master something, and I do my best to stray away from the term mastery or master because it requires so much humility, right? And a true master creates more masters. A true leader doesn't create more leaders, or create more followers, rather. It creates more leaders. So mastery in this context is about radical self-awareness and learning how to use the most powerful tool of our biology for the betterment of our health, our relationships, our interactions with life. And the nervous system tends to be the most direct gateway into how we interface with life, with sales. How can we generate leads and close sales when our nervous system's shut down or in exhaustion or fight or flight? So the nervous system is actually worthy of us learning how to master these simple functions so that we can show up in life with more finesse in our interactions with the world.
Yeah, I think we could use a little bit more finesse in our lives. Especially with all this noise out there. You work with some high-profile CEOs, and you see how they operate. I'm curious, what common, if you want to call them a mistake, what common challenges do you see when it comes to the way they breathe?
About 60% of the people in the world are mouth breathers. Whether it's conscious or unconscious, it could be breathing through the mouth at night. Part of that also is breathing in through the chest, shallow breathing. And you can learn so much about someone just by observing their breath. It actually will tell you everything you need to know about a person, because the breath is the blueprint for your posture, your thoughts, the way that you show up and walk in the world, and your relationship to self-esteem, self-worth, and confidence is directly correlated to your breath and how that shows up in your body. So I'll give you some alternatives, some different scenarios, because I know some CEOs and executives and high-performing elite athletes that have so much stamina and posture and show up with so much confidence and clarity and energy. And that comes from their breathing patterns. They're able to breathe deeply from their belly and be present with their breath. And there's no constriction or closing of the body. And on the other hand, I know some CEOs and leaders that have high stress, chronic stress, fatigue, exhaustion, burnout, and that shows up in their body as collapse, thoracic flexion, not standing up tall. And then that really affects, it's a chain reaction. It affects all the other systems in the body, the organs, our ability to detox, our ability to relate in business and at home. So really there's a wide spectrum of people that I know and their relationship to breath. And what I notice is that true success, it's a metric that's not really tangible in terms of how much money we have in our bank accounts, but success in how happy we are, how joyful we are, how I measure success by how often did I laugh today? And how do I feel in my body? What were my thoughts like? What were my interactions like? How rich and meaningful were my connections today? So that is my metric of success. And a lot of that is determined by our physiology.
Dang. How do you said analyze somebody's breath? What does that look like? Do you just stare at their chest?
I am a trained body worker, a Czech holistic practitioner. So I've assessed thousands and thousands of bodies in my career and trained to assess the gait, the posture, posturology, and overall structure of a person's body and anatomy. And I look for where things are pulling and out of alignment so that, when people come to me, whether it's for pain or some sort of soft tissue issue that they're wanting support with, I always look at the breath first. So when they stand up in front of me and we pause and we just take a moment to acknowledge the person's presence, because there is an element of trust required when you work with someone. So instead of rushing into the problem, I always start with pausing and finding some presence to welcome the person. And it's through the trust that is built in the first moments with that person that they can notice their breath, where it's at, and what their breathing patterns formally were. And I look at the belly. I look at not only the chest, but just the entire body as a whole, just scanning it. If the shoulders are misaligned, yeah. And this instantly invites us to shifting our posture in our seats, which all you have to do is name it. Just say the word posture.
Yes.
And it brings your awareness to your spine.
When I was working in the Bronx, I used to write posture in my hand right here as a reminder.
Nice.
Yeah, because it does make a difference.
It makes a huge difference. And that's a great tool. Yeah, you can write it on your hand. You can tattoo it on your forehead, whatever it takes to remember. My uncle used to say BS. He's like, Dina, BS. And it stands for back straight. Because when I was younger, my posture was pretty horrific.
Really?
Yeah. So think about BS when you need to. Back straight.
Thanks, Uncle. What was your uncle's name?
Uncle Ron.
Uncle Ron. He's got your back.
He does.
Where do you see the breathwork space going in the next 10 years? You think it's going to be, they're going to have offices where people can tap in, do a session, or is it going to be in every single workspace? Where do you think this is heading?
Well, we've seen the cannabis industry exploding in the last 15 years. Now it's kind of coming to a standstill. I believe it was just a Schedule 3 recently. Then we've seen psychedelic industry taking turns and leaps, and so many other industries blooming and coming to a standstill. So I think we're now entering the biohacking age of longevity, and breathwork specifically has been a lot more appealing lately because it serves as a great alternative to psychedelics. Not everybody wants to or can use psychedelic medicine, whether it's for their health or their age or the concerns, legalities. But breathwork can be a great tool to induce those psychedelic-like states. And people are drawn to free tools that can support their longevity and their goals, and little 2 millimeter changes and shifts in their morning practice that can change the course of their lives and their day. So I see breath work really becoming a global force that is accessible in all continents for free at schools, maybe even part of educational programs where children can learn these tools, especially after moments of trauma, like the school shootings that we've seen lately.
Yeah.
A lot of these trauma experts are coming in and teaching these nervous system regulation techniques. Some of these coping strategies include breath work or walking or movement practices, tapping. Talk therapy oftentimes does not support individuals right after trauma. It takes time to soften the nervous system and recalibrate after extreme trauma. So talking is usually counterproductive. So we need these primal tools that are like the key to the master drive of the limbic system. And
the limbic system?
Yes.
Okay.
The limbic system being the emotional part of our brain. It's the oldest part of us. Yeah.
Is that why people cry when they do breath work? I was curious about that. Why do people cry or have emotional outbursts at times?
Well, it's an opportunity for people to feel things that have been repressed. And when you're inviting in that much air or oxygen and balancing your CO2 levels, oftentimes people experience that cathartic release, that stuck energy. So you build up energy with breath work. You're intentionally with certain, breath work is a broad term. So with Tumo, Wim Hof, holotropic or psychedelic breath work, you are intentionally upregulating by breathing and inhaling rapidly and deeply. And oftentimes that stirs things up for people. And the lungs are connected to grief in Chinese medicine. So we're accessing the organ of breath, the lungs. The diaphragm is the muscle of breath. We can access different thoughts and feelings and emotions because we're intentionally generating this upregulated state in our nervous system so that we can have more resilience. And in that upregulated state of hyperventilation or superventilation, some people call it, we shake, we cry, we even laugh. So emotions are really an expression of that oldest part of our brain, the limbic system, that gets accessed during breath work.
That's amazing. Is there such thing as too long of a breath work?
It depends on the type of breath. We're doing a form of breath work right now. Just by mentioning it, we're consciously shifting our breath. I think...
How do you know?
I could see it.
Oh, in my posture.
Are you holding your breath?
No.
Breath holds are great. I love breath holds. Yeah, there's always such thing as too much in anything, with medication, with food, even with water. The definition of poison is in the dose. And it's really rare to see someone overdose on breath work, but I've seen it.
Really?
I've seen people.
What happens? Because I know, what's that word?
Tetany.
Tetany, right?
Tetany is the T-Rex hands. Yeah.
So their whole body is tetanied. And they're like a pretzel. Is that what happens when they overdose?
That is an outcome, one outcome of breath work. I wouldn't say that's an overdose. It can be for some people, but tetany is a wonderful experience. Some people love it, some people don't. You never die from it.
I think it's cool.
I think it's great. I enjoy being in that surrendered state of, I have no control of my body, and it's temporary, of course. So that is completely safe to experience when you have the proper guidance, of course. And I think overdose can be, you don't want to. The danger is, I'd say the challenge of breathwork is it's not a one size fits all. And that's the challenge that we see with instructors or with mainstream breathwork. People experiencing and exploring the power of their breath in ways that perhaps their bodies don't need. Some people will need to downregulate and to slow down their hearts. Some people really need to build resilience and hermetic stress like a workout, and they need to upregulate. So it really depends on the application. There's an analogy that I like to use. There's the coffee breath, which has nothing to do with your breath in the morning, thank goodness. There's the water breath, and then there's the whiskey breath. So the coffee breath is something that you want to do when you desire an increase of energy. That's something that you can overdose on. You can overdose on caffeine. So breathwork has this pharmacy-like quality in your physiology where you're actually medicating with your breath, because there's no other water, food, drink out there that can change your pH quicker than breathwork, changing your breathing patterns. So because of that, you really can shift things in your body too rapidly or too dramatically. And I recommend having caution and mastery and expertise when in these realms.
Because
yeah, not that kind of mastery. Yeah.
Right.
We're using paradoxes. The word words are cute. Mastery, just doing our best to be educated and be metacognizant of when we're pushing. And if that push is net positive, or is it going to leave us more depleted or more wired or upregulated after? So it has the ability to do both. That's why I'm really passionate about creating this new education around breath work, where people treat it as a pharmacy, and you have a whole array of tools that are highly effective, but based on your own dispositions and what you need moment to moment.
I can see a graph. I'm visualizing it, not necessarily a graph, but a chart. Okay, mood, and then angry, sad, happy, joyful, etc. Tired, all these things. Then the prescribed breath work to help balance those things. Yeah.
Yeah, and that chart actually exists in my teacher manual, so you can watch it.
Got it figured out already.
Yeah, it's important, I believe. And to get back to the analogy with water and coffee and whiskey. So whiskey would be a type of breath work, like a box breathing or a 5-8 count breath, where you'd want to do that before bed because it downregulates you, it relaxes you. Now these are cute analogies that I've borrowed from somewhere else, because I don't really personally like whiskey.
This is great.
But water is like a Wim Hof style breath or a slow diaphragmatic breath. That's something that you can practice throughout the day, and it's something that you're less likely to overdose on. So just being aware of your breath and taking slow diaphragmatic deep belly breaths. It's like water. You can drink a lot of water. You can also drink too much. So there's different analogies here to help us understand how to relate to the mechanics of breath work and what we want to use it for. If we want to upregulate and stimulate, some breath of fire, some holotropic breath work, then that's the caffeine.
What's holotropic?
Oh, holotropic.
Who made that word up?
So Stan Groff is the founder, him and his wife.
Where's Stan at?
Yeah, I don't know where he's at these days.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never met the man. But he created holotropic breathwork, and it's a movement that was created to, I think it was during the psychedelic movement that people wanted an alternative to psychedelics, and holotropic breathwork serves as a way to really induce those DMT-like states. If you know about that, yeah, without actually needing the medicine. So it's pretty cool. And it involves listening to really intense music, like cacophony, really crazy, loud music with rapid hyperventilation. There's usually a spotter. There's a 1-to-1 ratio in traditional holotropic breath work. In case you black out, or in case you have a trauma response and you need some guidance, because these sessions are at least an hour long. And after, people come out of it with journals and sometimes art and are guided through an integration process. So
Do you do this?
I have done this before.
You host
It's
this?
it's not something that I host anymore because it is pretty, I would say, it's an intense form of breath work, and so I use that very seldom. My techniques are my go-to. I love the Wim Hof method and the breath of life technique. I love somatic breath work. I love things that can get you to those peak states, but that are not like a 10 out of 10 intense.
Sure.
Because you don't need to press all the way on the gas to get those incredible mind-bending results. Those experiences exist for, people that are willing and ready to go there.
I just had a light bulb go off. I've tried multiple things to help with the OCD. I've taken prescription medicine. I've taken ketamine microdose, prescribed, and talked to a therapist, all this stuff. Yet, when I noticed something that actually helped it was temporary. I went to bed, I woke up the next day and it went away. But I was getting body work done and I was breathing as if I was doing breath work the entire time because the body work was so intense. You know how they take their little knuckle and they get right up in between and you're like, oh my God. So I was breathing through that super deep. After that body work session, it was 2 hours. I felt completely free of any OCD symptoms. But it took 2 hours. And then I woke up the next day and it kind of came back. But it was so nice. I had a great time with my girlfriend at the time. I was like, oh my God. I felt like pure heart connection. It was amazing.
Sounds like you experienced the medicine of your own breath. Was that your first experience with breath work?
No, maybe 5th time, 6th time. But I haven't ever gotten that out as an outcome before. So it makes me wonder, was it the length or the style? I don't know. Whatever it was, it worked.
Are you familiar with epigenetics?
Why does that sound so familiar? Please remind me.
It's a term that describes our ability to turn genes on or off. So we inherit our genetic coding from our parents. And how we express those genes is a possibility for the rest of our lives based off of our environment. And so your experience with altering your breath and receiving body work and the combination of those two things, the environment that you created in your own biology for your cells and your microbiome and your brain was an environment of reducing inflammation and stress that often causes these tendencies or diseases or mental health issues, right? It's inflammation, stress are some of the biggest environmental factors. So the breath can influence your epigenetics. It's creating the environment for your genes, your genetic expressions to turn on or off without changing the DNA sequence itself. So that's how powerful it is. Our breath can actually influence who we are, the possibility of who we are as human beings.
That's amazing. I'm feeling inspired by this chat. I think it's time to implement more of this because it really worked. It really, there's no doubt. It was amazing. It was a blissful experience. Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I'm so curious, okay? You do this because you like to do it. You love to do it, or else you wouldn't be doing it, right? And I've seen you on stage. I watched your videos. I'm like, oh, snap, she's up on stage. She's got a headset on. I'm like, it's official. What's going through your mind before you're about to speak to the audience? What is your heart posture?
Do you want to hear the messy version or do you want to hear the version that only happens once in a while?
Oh, can I have both?
You could definitely have both.
I got 2 hands. Thank you.
So I had this really funny, life-changing experience, eye-opening experience at a festival about a year and a half ago, where I was to teach a breathwork, a breath of life, signature breath of life experience for 500 people. And the day I arrived, I was underslept. I was living off of caffeine. I had been sleeping in a tent for several nights and not sleeping well. There was bass all around me 24/7.
What?
Bass music. So I was, I was pretty down-regulated, to say the least. And so I show up to the stage, the main stage where I'm about to teach this class. And I had prepared my playlist and my cueing and the whole arc of the experience that I was so excited to share with people. I'd been preparing this for weeks in advance. And when it was time to plug in my iPhone into the sound system, the sound engineer is like, "Oh, I don't have the right adapter to play your playlist."
Did you have like the old iPhone?
I have the new iPhone. He had the old adapter.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. And he said, "We're going to have to figure something else out. You're going to have to log in from someone else's phone to your Spotify." It was this whole high stress moment. I had 10 minutes before I was on.
And you're feeling...
And I was supposed to help regulate the nervous systems of these hundreds of people that were entrusting me to guide them through breath work. Yet my nervous system was unregulated. So how can I support these hundreds of nervous systems? If you look at the room as nervous systems, that's what we all are. These little creatures attached from our cranium all the way down to our legs. If you've ever seen the anatomy of a nervous system, it looks really funny, like a little creature. And my little creature was in fight or flight. I was so stressed out. I mean, I really have a high standard of how I show up professionally. And this was, without the playlist, the experience is lackluster because it really contributes to the cueing, the pausing, the retentions, the emotional cinematic buildup that I'll talk more about how music is really important with leading and facilitating breath work or anything. And not having access to the music was so scary for me. So I was like, well, I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to improvise. So a minute before I'm on, they grab the right toggle, an adapter that they were able to borrow from another stage, and they plug in my phone, and I'm still frazzled. I'm still in this state of, okay, well, the problem's solved, but I'm still not feeling regulated. So it was time for me to go on. And the first 5 minutes of me introducing myself, giving the demo, and captivating what was supposed to be captivating the audience, people were on their phones, they were fidgeting. There was a lot of like dispersed energy, which might have been normal because it's a festival, but I internalized it and realized that until I get into a regulated state myself, I'm not going to be able to create impact and build a powerful experience where people can soften, surrender, and go deep with themselves. So it took me about 10 minutes into this class to start shifting my breath. So I started connecting to my belly, taking some rounds of deep diaphragmatic breaths, and just sighing and dropping the weight out of my shoulders. And as I did that, everyone in the room started mirroring that posture. So it taught me that what's more valuable than any type of prep you can do or any type of cueing that you can do is to simply mirror that breath and actually practice it yourself as a leader. And those around you will start to shift because we're picking up on each other's breathing patterns and mental states. So even in relationships, when you tell someone, "Oh, just take a deep breath," you're getting agitated or you're getting triggered. That's not often that helpful. It can be, but what's more helpful than that is to actually take a deep breath yourself. And the person that you deem as triggered in front of you can mirror that deep breath without being told, because nobody likes to be told what to do.
Nah, especially when they're having a hard time.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the messy version of what I do to prepare. And I had to learn the hard way with that festival. And from then on out, I made it a priority to prime myself first, because I know I'm not going to be able to have as much impact and influence if I'm not primed. And we can really apply that to anything we do in life. Like before we knock on someone's door, what's our posture like? Are we primed? Are we enthusiastic? Are we open, or are we collapsed? That's the importance of priming.
You know, I was talking with a man yesterday, Mr. Darnell Phelps. Very successful in the tech space. He decided to take 2.5 hours of his, what was yesterday? Friday? Of his Friday morning and talk with me. It was only the second time he and I had ever spoken. And he goes, I don't even know how we got on this topic. But he goes, you got your phone in your hand? I'm like, no. I got my AirPods in. He goes, all right, good. Go stand in front of a mirror. I'm like, okay, I'm standing in front of this mirror. He goes, now, stand up tall. Put your back up straight. Get your posture right. Then, chin up about 1 inch, 2 inches higher. Good, you feel that? I'm like, yeah, I feel it. He's like, all right, good. Now, beat on your chest and say, I got the power. Do that 5 times for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And act as if you are Superman. He goes, great. It's going to change your state. Meanwhile, last piece, I almost forgot. Visualize something that a moment of your life that you're really proud of, so you can tap into that state even more. Who you get to be in the moment, and then something you're really excited for in the future. That's where the mind's at, as you're saying, I got the power, and your posture's great. He goes, you do that, you're going to be that person that gets what you want out of life. I'm like, dang, Darnell. And my point in bringing all this up is, I think that, no. I'm curious, does it start with the body or does it start with the mind? Because there's so much in physiology as we're covering right now. Here we have this man telling me to stand up and do that. And here we're talking about the breath, the physical. Does it start with the physical or does it start with the mental, or are they simultaneous?
It's the chicken or the egg. Which came first?
Mm-hmm.
The $1 million question of life. And that's a great argument. And which came first? Which one influences which? And I think a lot of experts will claim that, for example, in the health industry, getting spring water, that's going to solve all your health issues, or electrolytes, or this supplement, or breathwork. You know, there's so many experts that claim that their specialty is the root of all other functions in the body and what leads to longevity and overall wellness. And the argument that I would propose is maybe they're all hand in hand and they support the whole, because our organism is so complex and nuanced. And there isn't there's a nucleus, there's a brain, there's the part of us that is the control of the whole, but also what controls that part. It's like we influence each other, we influence ourselves, and there's also the microbiome, all the microorganisms that it's like 55% of our cells are foreign DNA.
What?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
So I'll give you another percentage. 99% of our DNA is foreign, meaning only 1% is human DNA.
What?
Yeah. By volume, yeah. And that is because of our microbiome that made us evolve into the human being that we are, that holds the earth and the soil and all the organisms in our colon and our gut. So that's the intelligence of a human being.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That we have more foreign DNA than human DNA. That's how complex we are.
That's crazy.
So which came first? What's influencing what? And it sounds like your friend, what's his name?
Darnell.
He sounds like he learned or studied with Tony Robbins or went to UPW.
He did.
Because what he taught you is triad psychology, which is focus, physiology, and language. I think it's in the order of physiology, language, and focus. But those are the three components of triad psychology. And so triad psychology is a formula that teaches us how to instantly change our state. It's what Tony Robbins teaches before he has people walk on fire. So once you can hone these three things, your physiology, your language, and focus, which I'll break down, then you can have an instant state change. So physiology is the Superman pose, like slamming on your chest, or Superman posture, heart open, tall spine, feeling confident, because our physiology determines our state. And the body doesn't lie. If we're slouching, or if we're constricted, or if we're feeling shy or closed or weak, then our posture is going to reflect that, and vice versa. If our posture is like that, then we're going to feel that way. So maybe the question isn't which came first, but which one can we notice first? Because if we notice that our posture is not fully in integrity, and we notice that and we make that shift, then we'll start to feel more in our power. Or if we notice that our thoughts, right, that's the language, the stories we tell ourselves, if we're thinking constantly of the worst case scenario, or what we don't want to have happen, and negative, then we're creating a feedback loop of that experience in our minds and feeling this felt sense of what that experience would be like, just through our thoughts and language and stories. So the stories we tell ourselves are really powerful.
For sure.
And finally, focus, where energy flows, attention goes. You ever heard of that?
Where energy flows, attention goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's Tony Robbins' one-liner, slam dunk one-liner.
I like that.
So that's the third part of triad psychology, is what are we focusing on? So if we can focus on our desired outcome, for instance, with the walking over hot coals, and then we see ourselves on the other side of the hot coals, the fire coals, and we're celebrating, we've achieved this, that we feel good, our feet feel good. And if that remains our focus, then we're more likely to achieve that. But if we're constantly worried about, oh, what could go wrong, or if we're focusing on how uncomfortable the sensations are, then that becomes that's where the energy then goes and lives. And I've had to become so aware of that myself, because lately, especially, I've had some health scares where I've had some GI issues that just surfaced in the last few months. And I have a tendency to be hyper aware of my body, which has benefits and drawbacks. The drawbacks are someone that is hyper aware can intensify sensations and feelings and make them mean something that they're not. Someone that is hyper aware of their body or themselves can be self-conscious or like risk averse to a detriment. The benefits are you're self-aware, so you know what your body is going through. You could feel if you ate something that is triggering your gut, and then you can make changes. So self-awareness has a lot of gifts, but too much of it can, especially when we attach stories to it, can create a negative experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you ever go on WebMD and search it, then you're really screwed.
Or ChatGPT.
Don't
do it. Exactly. Yeah. I was down that rabbit hole looking up colon cancer for the last 2 months because, I had some GI issues that were very related to that. And I had friends that actually have colon cancer that are really young and healthy and fit. And they're like, oh, those were the same symptoms I had. You better go get a colonoscopy. And I did. And I got peace of mind and clarity. And it taught me something so valuable about where I place my thoughts. And of course, there's no price to self-assurance and knowing that you're healthy and safe, and that's so valuable. So I'm really glad I got a colonoscopy. And I'm even more glad that I've learned a lesson that it's so valuable to not make a big story of something without knowing the full context. And it's easy to, for me in the past, to be entrapped by fear and, the original wound of fear of death or separation and not completing my purpose in life and contributing to the world before dying. And so I've habitually defaulted into a perpetual state of protecting myself. And we haven't talked about anxiety yet, but I think this is a great place to insert my journey with that is anxiety has been one of my greatest teachers in life. And I know that's something so many people struggle with regularly, whether it's panic attacks, right? Who hasn't? Who hasn't experienced some form of anxiety? And OCD can be a form of that, or
Oh, it is. Yep.
yeah, right? Or control, or any type of fear that gets amplified because our nervous system, its main job is to keep us alive and safe. And so when it feels a threat, whether that threat is real or not, whether it's a tiger or traffic or reading about colon cancer on ChatGPT, the fear gets internalized and the nervous system will go into a stress state, an acidic, inflammatory state, because that's what's required to keep you safe. But when that state is sustained over long periods of time, that creates a lot of dysbiosis and illness and disease and anguish, mental anguish, right? Man, my mental state for the last couple months was far from where it normally is because of that fear of death and uncertainty. So the value of being aware of our fear, and part of that is actually thanking our nervous systems. When I had this paradigm shift, it changed my whole life. I went from wanting to fix my nervous system and fix myself to actually thank you for protecting me. Thank you for perceiving this as a threat and doing your best and doing your job to protect me. But now I'm going to take lead. I'm the motherfucking leader. And you're just looking for someone to lead you and tell you that it's okay and that you're safe. And so to separate yourself from your nervous system in the sense of taking leadership of it because it's looking for someone, you, to lead it, makes such a huge difference in how to manage anxiety and stress in life. Yeah.
I was about to cough, which is why I didn't say anything right away.
Let it out.
Hard to imagine that you had anxiety. You seem very calm.
Yeah, I think I have very deep calm states and I have very deep anxious states that I've experienced. And a lot of people have reflected, oh, it's really hard to picture you as someone that struggled with anxiety. I don't see it. So it's one of those invisible things.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I guess it is invisible. Yeah. Yeah. I suffer a good extended periods of times. And people never know. They can never tell. But I think if you have an anxiety attack, people can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you're shut down. I think it depends what kind.
It depends. It depends fully. Yeah. And panic attacks, I've definitely had a number. I started getting those when I was about 5 years old, which is what led me to breathwork.
Is that why you do it?
It's what led me to discovering it is I was 5 and had what felt like a heart attack. I thought I was going to die. And my mom rushed me to the ER. All the adults around me were panicking. They checked my vitals. The doctor came in and was pretty explicit with his theory that I was having a panic attack, and he taught me how to breathe out of a brown paper bag. So that was my first intro to breath work, to consciously changing my breathing pattern. And it didn't help in the moment, which breath work, there are some techniques that can really snap you out of panic and anxiety, but it really works cumulatively. When you practice a little bit every day, then it's like resilience training. It's like cross training your nervous system.
Like,
yeah.
well, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's so many benefits to practicing it regularly, depending on what type of breath work. And again, it's a pharmacy. I specifically love practicing breath retention and breath holds. Our ability to hold our breath on empty is directly correlated to our longevity.
How so?
So training your CO2 tolerance, there's something called your BOLT score, which measures how long it takes for you to need the recovery breath after you take an exhale and hold your breath on empty. So you'll breathe normally for about a minute.
Okay.
And then after a minute, you set a timer for 2 minutes. And so you take your last breath, you exhale, and you hold your breath. Set the timer immediately. Anything under 30 seconds where you have an urge to breathe, that's not like you're gasping, but like the first urge that you have to breathe is what determines your BOLT score. So anything under 30 seconds is considered pretty unhealthy. And then 30 to 60 seconds is about average. And then 60 and up is what athletes can achieve. And like we have great respiratory health. So it's a way to measure your respiratory health. And there's ways to measure the metrics of longevity. And one of them is breath retention. Yeah.
You know another one?
To measure longevity, there's some genetic DNA testing you could do. You could measure your chronological age, but also your biological age. So chronologically, I'm 32. Biologically, I've taken some blood tests. I'm 27. So there's different tests that I guess test certain biomarkers in our blood to determine our biological age. Have you heard of that?
I have.
Yeah.
Back when I was a single guy, I'd see some ladies on there. They wrote their biological age. I'm like, what is that? And I Googled it. And I figured it out.
Is that ethical? Now we see people writing their biological age on dating apps. That's too funny. Yeah.
I said, I don't know about this.
I would be apprehensive right there. Does that sound like a red flag?
Oops. No. Oh. That's what I want to know. Because you're Dina. Your soul is here for a purpose. You're on a mission. What's the mission?
The mission is to create a better world. It's that simple. And I think every action that we take, every decision that we make for ourselves can ripple out in a chain reaction to help elevate the world and repair the world. There's this, in Kabbalah, what's called tikkun olam, which means to repair the world through our actions and deeds. And it's, for me, I see the central nervous system of the earth, the pulse of the planet, in time of deep anguish and stress and existential crisis, maybe even an extinction event on the horizon.
Dang.
Yeah. And with the introduction of viruses and all these different biological shifts that we're going through, COVID and, the age of technology and AI, we're on the brink of a lot of existential crisis. And we also have the tools to become some of the most intelligent forms of biology that have ever existed in the billions and billions of years that we evolved from, like primitive ferns and single cell organisms to the next extinction event that brought forth mammals and dolphins and flowers and blue whales and the frequencies of birds and all these beautiful life forms. So every time we do go through an extinction event, it makes the world a more beautiful place biologically. It's this evolution imprint. And yeah, my purpose and mission is to support evolution and the process of life, and to kind of midwife that. And my role is something I'm still learning how to best place my skills and my dreams and into society. It's a never-ending journey. I think for many of us, we have such a range of the things we love: music and health and wellness and impact and art and mastery and finance. There's so many things that many of us love. We're Renaissance beings, and we are at a time where we can use the collective superpowers and gifts to bring more harmony and repair into the world for what's to come next. What version or iteration of life wants to be born next?
Are you Italian, Dina?
Am I Italian? I took a DNA test years ago and it said I was 15% Southern Italian, but it got updated recently and now I'm no longer 15% Southern Italian.
At all?
The audacity. I wanted my truffles and
Yeah, your olive oil.
my olive oil. I still get those.
Growing up in New York, if I had a friend named Dina, she'd be Italian. So I was going to call you Dina.
Let's go.
Dina. We're going to play a game, Dina.
Okay, let's play. Let's do it. The Brooklyn accent. I love the Brooklyn accent. Where'd you get that?
We're in the Bronx,
Did you find it on Toity Toit Street?
Pretty much. I remember this one guy. He worked at the parking lot. He go, this one guy tipped me $5. I'm like, how you say it? $5. $5. So awesome. All right. God, Dina.
Okay, let's do it. Pick any card. Here we go. Okay, let's see. Oh my goodness. There's so many options. My subconscious is guiding me to this one right here. Let's see what it says. Should I look at it?
Yeah, look at it.
Okay. Oh, cute question. You gain the ability to speak to one animal. Which one? And what burning question do you ask them? Oh man, now you can't turn the Brooklyn accent off. What the hell?
Oh, I did it.
What did you do?
Oh, no.
All right. You gain the ability to speak to one animal. Which one? And what burning question do you ask them? I would speak to probably a dolphin, a humpback whale, or a blue whale. It's like a tie between those three. So it's okay. Let's just do.
I know which one.
Let's do blue whale.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because it's the biggest, baddest.
What's your favorite?
It's one of them.
Don't you host events and go?
I do. Not with the blue whales. It's the humpbacks.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
I thought I knew my stuff. Back. So, yeah.
I would ask the blue whale, what does humanity need to learn to experience the state of harmony with nature again? Because we're in the original wound of separation from nature. So what message would you have for us? And what will it take for us to unite with nature again?
It's a good question.
What do you think the blue whale would say?
No. I was going to ask you that. What do you think the blue whale would say? I don't know what the blue whale would say. I think that people, where does it all start? Okay, you've got a kid, a little happy little baby. They're fearless. They can do anything. And all of a sudden, trauma. Micro trauma. Layers. Anger. Who knows? Where? I don't know. because this is such a big one. This is a big one. Because it actually has nothing to do with the person. It's us as a collective and our standards. We've got low standards. We don't care. We choose convenience over doing what's right for the world. So how do we elevate the standards of the entire population of the world? Where does that start? Not on the individual level. That was my first route. I think it starts on the powers that be's level. You go to Japan, right? Sure, they do things not the most ethically, especially when it comes to tuna fishing. But if you leave your wallet at a McDonald's, someone will come back. No one's going to touch it. You can come back a day later, it'll be right there. So they've got high standards in that regard because the powers that be implemented it. Safety, it's clean. You won't find a piece of trash on the ground. So I hear. Right? You go to America, there's trash everywhere. Downtown Austin, everywhere. Where's our standards with that? Yeah. I don't think that the governments care all that much.
I lived in Hawaii for about 11 years, and I still consider it one of my homes, and it has some of the most pristine beaches, and that's because the locals have what's called malama aina. It's to care for the land. And it's this cultural norm where I don't know what it's going to take for us to start caring for nature again and to realize that we're not separate from it. But a lot of these indigenous places in the world still, a lot of them really have this deep connection to nature and know that when they trash their environment, they are trashing themselves because we're an extension of that environment. And so because of that value, the land in Hawaii is so well taken care of compared to the rest of the world. And it's so sad to see that in other places that don't have that value. And to speak to the blue whale wisdom, I was tuning into what else the blue whale would say in response to that question is the moment that humanity stops commodifying me and starts valuing me not for what I cost or what value I would bring when you poach or harvest or hunt me and sell my parts, but value me for who I am and my contribution to the ecosystem and how invaluable, you can't put a monetary number on the value of a blue whale and how much it contributes to the entire ecosystem of the ocean. And it's the food chain and what it offers and all the, the algae and seaweed and the carbon sequesters of the earth, the Amazon. But the moment we stop commodifying it and place value in what it's like alive and the value it offers to the rest of the world and the environment, that's the moment we transcend our scarcity programming, which is what drives commodifying in the first place.
Is it commoditizing?
Yeah.
Or commodifying?
Not sure.
Okay, I think it's commoditizing.
Thank you for the correction.
Yankee.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And yeah, once we overcome that, we become a lot more aligned with the bigger intelligence of the planet, which is nature. So that would be the blue whale's message.
I want to do one more card.
Let's do it.
That was fun.
That was a fun question.
Dang. Great answer. Wait, dog.
Okay, back to the Brooklyn accent. Let's choose a card. Pick another card over here, else I'm gonna, pick one for you. Okay, let's do it. It's this one. What's a moment of pure joy you keep locked in your mind for dark days? Oh. And I have so many moments of pure joy and rapture, and because I've experienced anxiety and deep darkness in my life, I've also been able to experience such magnificent beauty and rapture and joy and connection to creativity and intelligence in God and pure joy. I think of people I love surrounding me. I've had some of the most beautiful moments of my life in the last couple of years, specifically the last 2 years since I moved to Austin, where I've experienced what it really feels like to be with family, chosen family, with human beings that can offer love and true friendship in a way that I've never experienced before. And for me to be able to provide that in return, just this deep friendship where we're friends for life. And to me, that feeling of being surrounded by all the people I love here and celebrating life, to me, when I close my eyes and picture that, these moments of celebration I've had in the last 2 years, I'd have to say, it's funny that this question came up because another moment of pure joy is that doesn't compare to anything on earth is when I'm in the ocean with dolphins, or on land rather. Being in the ocean with dolphins and whales is, to me, one of the most peak experiences I've had in my life. And that's why I continue to do that almost every year.
You got a trip coming up next year.
I do, February, end of February. Peak whale season.
Do you have spaces left? Because we're going to be releasing this episode, I think, next week, Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Great.
Do you have spaces left?
I have a couple spaces left. It's a pretty full program. I do have spaces left for the Breathwork cohort, which is the Holistic Breathwork Facilitator certification program.
When does that start?
So starting January 5th, it's online, goes until January 28th. It's a great way to start the year to plug in the tools of breathwork into any career that you already have.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You're the leader.
I am the facilitator, the teacher.
That's what's up. Respect, Dina.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an honor.
How do people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Instagram. The handle is at Dina Maayan with 2 A's. Or you could find me, we'll post some links in the podcast notes.
Post them all up in there.
Website. Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'm so grateful that we got to connect and just share wisdom codes because of Gabriel.
That's the guy that did the body work on me.
Yeah. Oh, he's the one that you had to breathe deeply through. You had your own breakthrough.
He's got strong hands.
He does. He's got hot hands too.
Gets in there.
Very deep. Yeah.
Boom.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Gabriel. I think we're having that on Sunday.
Oh, great.
Folks, my name is Greg Carlson, your host of the Elite League podcast, where we take industry experts, ask them what it's like to do what they do and why they do it. Thank you so much, Dina, for coming on today. I really appreciate you. Big things ahead. All the best energy. Take it. Have it. Enjoy it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I receive and amplify it back to you. What a great way to close 2025.
For real.
I'm excited for what next year brings for both of us.
We're on the rock.
And for all of you listening.
Yeah. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and most importantly, everybody, stay fired up.